Let me ask you a question. Do you ever find yourself overthinking your problems? Are there any over analytical people out there, or is it just me? If I have a problem, I want to think my way out of it. I want to see it from every angle. I want to research every topic related to it. And I'm convinced that I can solve any of my problems just through thinking my way out. I remember telling my wife when we first got married, I jokingly said, I'm like Moses, I'll take you to the promised land. I can solve all of your problems. And as you can imagine, that did not go over very well. But you can't think your way out of a problem that you didn't think your way into. What do I mean by that? Most people, they mess up with their actions, so they need to use actions to get out of their problems. Paul said it like this to Timothy. He said, discipline yourselves for the purpose of godliness. This is in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. He is telling Timothy, literally, train yourself. Just like physical training in verse 8, he says, is of some value, but godliness has value in all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life yet to come. There are times when you won't feel like honoring God. There are times when you're overcome with temptation, and what do? You have to choose. You have to make the decision. You have to discipline yourself for the purpose of godliness. This is a way to win the battle against sin in your life. And it's kind of a dichotomy here because you have taking every thought captive in obedience to Christ. That's kind of before you go into sin or as you kind of see it creeping up in your mind. But the other part of that is that if you discipline yourself beforehand, then you're less likely to stumble. Let me give you an example. If on one side of me is living a life of godliness and honoring Him, and the other side of me is sinning and rebelling against God, most people want to stay on this side, the side of the light. The problem is that some things in life are right here in the middle in what we call the gray area. And what most people do is they tiptoe their life right on the edge of the gray area and say, well, I'm not sinning. I'm not doing it. I'm honoring God. But when you live right there at the edge of the gray area, you give yourself no margin for error. So what you do then is you discipline yourself and you put things in order that you take a couple of steps away from that gray area line, so that if you do mess up, you still don't cross over. Whatever you're going through, ask the Lord to reveal in your heart and your mind a way that you can discipline your life for the purpose of godliness.